Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Truth About B2B Sales. I'm your host, Richard Walton, joined by my brother, Henry Walton, and we are going to be digging into the topic of hiring expensive BDMs without the system to support them. So, over the last 6 to 10 years, probably, Henry, I think the most common mistake that we've seen, the complaint that we get from our clients is they have just walked away or they've still got one and they're wanting to remove a very expensive BDM that has lost them a lot of money. In fact, I remember we were talking to someone a while ago who said that they reckon a BDM had cost them $1 million. Now, defending the sales profession, I don't think it's always the individual, though certainly that is the case. Why do so many people struggle in hiring? Well, let's talk about their first business development manager, not ongoing, but why do so many founders struggle to hire their first BDM?
So I wrote about this a while ago, if you remember. I think I coined a phrase, maybe I didn't coin it, but founders sell from the hip, and they are very, very good at it normally. They're the ones that know the market, they know their product, they have the story, and they're able to sell without a process. They're able to sell because they're the founder. They're the ones that have created this company, that have created this product. It's their network as well, and it's leaders selling to leaders, so they don't need processes. And they can do often poor discovery, and they can do a pitch however they want, and there can always be improvements. But they'll always be the best salesperson. They'll always have the highest conversion rate. And then typically what happens is the founder, understandably, can often get burnt out, or maybe they're having a lot of success and there's not enough time. But the founder's looking to exit themselves because they want to reduce that dependency on them. And then they go and hire a BD, and they expect them to be able to sell like the founder does. But they can't. They're not the founder. They often don't have the network. They don't have the same status. They don't have the same connections. They can't sell like that. In order for a BD to be successful, they need the process. They need the coaching. They need the right support. They need the right team around them to be able to perform anywhere near the level in terms of conversion rates of normally a good founder. So it's just the lack of process normally, and the lack of strategy, and the expectation that it's just going to work in the same way. There is another element in there that, which is in some ways the same thing, that there's an expectation that the BD is going to be able to do everything. They're going to be good at sourcing and finding their own leads. They're going to be good at doing the in-person. They're going to be good at doing, discovery as well as negotiation and closing. It's often quite a hard thing to find. And if the company is also selling to multiple segments, again, the founder, can often be easier for the founder to do. But, if you are hired a BD that perhaps has more experience in one segment or background in, let's say, software, and then you expect them to be able to sell across multiple segments like the founder was, it's going to be very, very, very difficult. So those are some of the common things that I see.
Yeah, I think for me, it's that they think that the way out is to hire the BD first, when actually it's other roles that they need to fill first. So those unicorns don't exist. The BDs that can do the strategy, do the prospecting, help bridge the gap between marketing and sales. I've never come across one in 25 years of doing this. So generally, as you've talked about, it's called founder magic, right? The founder is growing their business, and they think they've hit the nail on the head, but they're probably selling to multiple ICPs and just winging it. And then they think that a BD, as you said, can come in and do that, when actually, there needs to be a strategy. That BD is the most expensive person and is the highest risk one. What I think is the most important step is you start with building the foundational stuff. You start with actually probably much easier hires, sales operational support, building your tech stack, an SDR, a prospector, and you layer that up. The last bit of the puzzle that you should hand across is someone to actually do the selling, have the conversations, be meeting with clients. And the irony of this, and we see this all the time, particularly in high ticket sales, is once you put into place all the other things, most founders then don't actually want to exit the sales process, because in B2B high ticket sales, you generally, if you're selling anything of value, you're very, very happy to be having 4 to 5 high value conversations a month. And I don't know a single founder who loves their product or service who isn't willing to do that. It's all the other stuff that they want to take away. So I always feel is, sure, hire a BD, but make sure you've got the rest of your house in order first. And that's, I think that will avoid many, many mistakes. Cool. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.